I'm a greedy beta, and my boyfriend is a top alpha. He's got someone he can't forget, while all I care about is money. He asks, I give, and we've been getting along just fine. Until the day he got engaged, then I grabbed the 5 million he'd given me willingly and ran. But then I found out I was pregnant. I wanted to take abortion pills, but that little bump in my belly started talking. Stupid dad, you really want to get rid of me? Do you have any idea I'm worth $500 million? My eyes lit up. $500 million? 1. When I scrolled past the news of Ronan sneaking off to a hotel with his Omega moonlight, we had just finished another round. Covered in hickeys and bite marks, I curled up under the sheets. The room was filled with alpha pheromones. That sharp basal scent wrapping around my senses. Betas can't smell pheromones. We can't release them either. No matter how often Ronan marked the back of my neck, the basal scent never left a trace on me. Meanwhile, the star of the news was sitting on the edge of a bed with fresh nail marks down his back, pulling on clothes. The photos were blurry, but even that couldn't hide the stunning looks of a top Omega. Young master's late-night tryst with a gorgeous Omega, wedding bells soon. Wedding bells, huh? I shut off my phone, poked my head out from under the blanket, and whispered. Are you getting married? Ronan didn't answer. His long fingers slid under the covers and clamped around my ankle. That half-blood face looked lazy, but the alpha presence rolling off him was overwhelming, almost predatory. His blue-gray eyes were as deep and unreadable as a still pond. The raw bite marks on my neck stung again. I suspected Ronan was releasing pheromones. But I couldn't prove it. After all, I couldn't smell them. I shifted slightly, wincing as soreness ran through my waist. I pressed my lips together, pretending to sound casual as I asked. How much longer do you think this thing between us will last? After all, my income depended on it. But Ronan acted like he hadn't even heard me. He just stared at my face. Then his Adam's apple moved. My instincts screamed, and I tried to slip away. Before I could roll over, Ronan pinned me down. Wesley, once more. I lay there like a dead fish, repeating silently in my head. Take the money, do the job. Money, money, money. The more I chanted it, the more I lulled myself into submission. If he enjoyed it, it would all be worth it. When it was over, Ronan finally answered me. He covered my eyes with his palm, kissed my forehead, and in a low voice that sounded almost like a sigh, said, Soon. It'll all be over soon. I didn't move. Only after I heard the door shut and silence filled the room did I open my eyes. The sudden light stung, and tears blurred my vision. I quickly wiped them away and checked my phone balance. Perfect, just shy of 9 figures now. And every cent given willingly. Sore and aching, I drafted a resignation letter and set it to send automatically 3 days later. Then I booked a one-way ticket to an island. When I finally climbed out of bed, I looked at all the luxury gifts Ronan had given me. I couldn't take them. Without a note saying given willingly, they couldn't be resold. I forced myself to say goodbye to the wall of money I couldn't touch. Downstairs, the butler was cleaning windows. He greeted me with a smile, awake already, sir? I froze mid-step, my social anxiety flaring up, and avoided his eyes. Just gave a small nod on the stairs. Would you like a Chinese breakfast or a Western one? The butler asked warmly. Young master prefers Chinese. And you, sir? I bit my lip and looked up. He immediately understood. Heading to the garden, then? Yes, exactly. Smart man. Would you like company? He offered. I shook my head and muttered, don't bother. Then I gritted my teeth and hurried out, afraid I'd lose my nerve if I stayed a second longer. Standing outside the gates, I glanced back at the grand villa with regret. Couldn't even sell it. Heart aching, I hailed a cab to the airport. The moment I boarded, Ronan's messages came flooding in. Awake? Transfer, 10,000, note, given willingly. Reply to me. Transfer, 20,000, note, given willingly. Have lunch with me. Transfer, 30,000, note, given willingly. I ignored everything except the money. Accepted every transfer smoothly, then replied. Thanks, hubby. The second I sent it, Ronan wired another 100,000. I grinned, pocketed it, then blocked and deleted him. Pulled out the SIM card and shut off the phone. Watching the clouds outside the window, I leaned back and closed my eyes in peace. 2. When I opened my eyes again, I was on the island. I spent the day sightseeing and house hunting. Finally buying a 2-story villa with a garden in the front and a vegetable patch in the back. House secured, it was time to enjoy a carefree life with no strings attached. I ate like a king. Only the best, only the most expensive. By the end of the month, I had put on a good 4 pounds. In all that time, no news about me showed up online. Instead, I saw endless headlines about Ronan and his moonlight. Entering and leaving the company together, looking inseparable. I felt relieved. He was busy with his wedding. He probably didn't have the time to worry about a little fling. Especially one with a beta. I looked at my ordinary reflection in the mirror and chuckled. Picked up my phone to order food when suddenly nausea surged up my throat. I bolted to the bathroom and vomited, disbelief crashing over me. No way, it couldn't be. Congratulations, you're 3 weeks pregnant. The words hit me like a thunderbolt. I stammered, can I terminate it? The doctor gave me a look. According to the new regulations, both parents' families must be present for an abortion. My partner, I gritted my teeth, he's dead. Then show a death certificate, the doctor replied. My head spun. Who in their right mind would issue a death certificate for Ronan? So it really couldn't be done. Just as I was asking if there was any other way, I suddenly heard a sharp, childish voice. Stupid dad. You're really going to throw me away? Don't you know I'm worth $500 million? And father's looking for you everywhere. The basement and all those unspeakable things are ready. $500 million? I hesitated. Hell, what was there to hesitate about? Who the hell was talking? Slowly, I looked down at my still flat stomach. My eyes widened behind thick black frames and messy bangs. Had I gone insane? 3. Who are you? I held up a charm paper I'd bought for $10 from a street stall and questioned my stomach. No answer. The little ball just kept talking to himself. Stupid dad is too cruel, wanting to get rid of me. But I'm the smartest, sweetest baby ever. The once proud little voice began to fade. But even a good kid's dad doesn't want him. What should I do? My heart softened in an instant. I placed my palm against the barely there bump, awkwardly rubbing up and down. As if to comfort him. Ah, is dad comforting me? Humph, I knew it. I'm such a good boy, dad would never stay cold forever. And if you give birth to me, father will hand you $500 million. I'm priceless, you know. The corners of my lips curved in secret. The tiny heartbeat pulsed under my hand, merging with mine until they beat in sync. Dad, are you going to keep me? It suddenly feels so warm. The little one sounded cheerful again, even humming an off-key tune. This was someone connected to me by blood. Besides my parents and brother, the only family I had. Wesley, are you going to keep him? Wesley, keep him. The answer rose from my heart before I realized it. I canceled the appointment for the beta abortion procedure. Looking out at the peach tree just budding outside my window, I whispered. Your name will be Sawyer. Peaches are tasty. And as if he'd heard me, the little guy spoke up again. Did I just hear Dad naming me? Sawyer, right? Is it Sawyer, Dad? My fingertip tapped lightly against my stomach. As if replying. Sawyer let out a delighted wah. That soft baby voice was impossible to resist. Sawyer, Sawyer. So nice to hear. 4. And just like that, I settled down on the island with Sawyer. The landlady, a kind-hearted Omega, mistook me for a beta who had been abandoned, child and all. She treated me with extra care. When Sawyer was 3 months along, she reminded me to get a prenatal checkup. That was when I realized I'd forgotten. Lowering my gaze to my still small bump, I sighed. Prenatal checkups required both parents. Where was I supposed to find an alpha? The landlady noticed and patted my hand. I have an idea. Outside the hospital, I stood stiffly, staring at a well-dressed alpha in a suit. You're her nephew? The tall alpha, still looking a little green, nodded. Yes, Brother Wesley. I'm Orion. Auntie asked me to go with you for the checkup. So this was her idea. Fine. Whatever. It was just a checkup, not a marriage license. I tried to relax. Then. I'll trouble you. Orion's handsome face broke into a shy smile, and he went ahead to register us. I followed behind, distracted. Alphas as beautiful and top-tier as Ronan were rare. I wondered what he was doing now. Probably preparing for his wedding. I stared at the marble floor. Ugly. Not as good-looking as Dad. And definitely not as rich as Dad. Sawyer's haughty little voice echoed in my head, instantly chasing away all my unease. The checkup didn't take long. The doctor reminded me of precautions since I was a male beta. Everything was done in an hour or two. I held the ultrasound prints and thanked Orion again. He scratched his head. Brother Wesley, you're too polite. It was nothing. Since he was the landlady's nephew, I reluctantly counted him as an acquaintance. And with his easy way of talking, the atmosphere gradually lightened. I relaxed, chatting with him as we headed toward the elevators. But as we passed a corner, a chill ran through me. Like some beast had its eyes locked on me. Before I could react, Sawyer's urgent little voice rang out. Father, Dad, turn around, it's Father. Like hell I would. I bolted to run, but behind me came a voice I knew too well. Wesley. Why are you running? 5. My scalp prickled, every cell in my body screaming at me to run. But my legs refused to move. Just as I clenched my teeth, ready to bolt, a cold hand slid along the side of my face. Wesley, did you have fun these past few days? Ronan's voice was soft. Soft, yet damp and shadowed, like he could swallow me whole. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to stay calm. What a coincidence. Coincidence? Ronan's hand moved to my waist. Guess why I'm here? To catch me? Impossible. That thought was too ridiculous. I smothered the chaos in my chest and turned around. His striking face came into view. And my heart skipped for just one beat. Only one. I dropped my gaze. Ronan chuckled. Why run? Have I treated you badly? I clenched my palms and forced myself to meet his gray-blue eyes. You've treated me very well. Then why run? His words came out through gritted teeth. Outside of the bedroom, it was the first time I'd seen him truly angry. Normally he was poised, controlled, every inch the young master the tabloids praised. But right now, that young master looked like a debt collector from hell. I backed away without meaning to. He seized my arm, his expression instantly dark. Are you afraid of me? How could I not be? What if he wanted me to return all the money? I bit my lip, completely at a loss. Ronan. Another voice cut in, laced with displeasure. I looked up and saw the top-tier Omega fiancé from the headlines. A perfect match with him, Alpha and Omega, dazzling together. My heart sank. Finished. Ronan must be here to settle accounts. Why else come to me when he already had a partner? But would a CEO really stoop so low as to demand back what he'd given a lover? Rich men didn't do that, did they? As my mind raced, the Omega walked right up. He gave Ronan a playful smack on the head. Then squeezed him aside to take my hand gently. "Hi, I'm Ronan's older brother, River." Older brother? But wasn't Ronan an only child? River caught my confusion immediately. "He didn't tell you." "Tell me what?" River's eyes widened in disbelief. "You didn't explain." No wonder he ran. Brain kicked by a donkey. He leaves and you don't even chase him. Pathetic. Then, still unsatisfied, River gave Ronan a kick. "Say something. Explain." He sighed. "Forget it, useless to expect anything from you." Holding my hand firmly, River said, "My status is special. Our family didn't make it public, but I really am his brother. Don't believe the news, that was just our parents' way to parade me in public for a marriage match." My head spun as I tried to process. Seeing no reaction, River grew anxious. "Do you want proof? A DNA test?" I blinked. "What DNA test?" "To prove whether Ronan and I are brothers. We're in a hospital, perfect place to clear up misunderstandings, otherwise it'll just trip up your relationship later. By the way, are you here because you're not feeling well?" I opened my mouth to answer, but River cut me off. "Ronan has a private hospital, just opened 3 months ago. You should go there for a proper checkup." I pushed back. "No need, I'm fine." "Fine?" Ronan finally shoved River aside, his eyes dark as night. "If you're fine, why were you shielding your stomach?" I instantly dropped my hand. Too late, like trying to hide the sound of a bell with my hands. I licked my lips, forcing an explanation. "I just overate." Ronan's smile was half amusement, half threat. "Is that so?" I nodded quickly, keeping my head down. "I've got something to do. I'll be leaving first." Ronan released my hand. My heart leapt, I turned to go. But the next second, the world tilted. Ronan scooped me into his arms. I froze, then immediately struggled. He loosened his grip just enough to make me panic. And I clung to his neck out of sheer fear. He looked down at me, his face shadowed against the light. "Wesley, don't move. I don't want to do something to you right here." I went still instantly. Satisfied, Ronan pressed a kiss to my forehead and strode out. Behind us, River shouted, "Ronan, get a grip. Don't forget what the doctor said, don't scare Wesley." My ears caught on those words. "Doctor? Scare me?" My chest tightened as I glanced up at Ronan's beautiful, clouded face. Something felt terribly wrong. 6. That was how Ronan shoved me into his car. I thought I could slip out while he wasn't looking. But he slid in right after me, one arm still locked around my waist. In the cramped space, I caught the scent of basil again. But this time, it was tinged with bitterness, like it had gone sour. I tried not to think about it. His phone buzzed again and again. He shut it off with a click. Back to Iha Manor. My heart skipped. Just how many estates did he own? Sawyer's cheerful little voice piped up. "Humph, father doesn't just have manors, he has castles too." "But why pick this manor?" "Because there's something unspeakable inside. Father's been holding back long enough. Now he's gone full mad dog. Poor dad, you're in trouble." I froze in horror. Unspeakable things? Ronan? A mad dog? Impossible. I glanced at him cautiously. How could I ever connect this elegant man, like a deity, to that image? Catching my gaze, Ronan brushed my bangs aside and slipped off my glasses. The world blurred. Except for him, sharp and clear. "What's on your mind? You're trembling. So pitiful." "Why tremble? I won't eat you. At worst, I'll ruin you." What did I just hear? I shrank back, but he pinned me instantly. The space between us vanished. Close enough for me to hear the strangeness in his tone. The impatience. He was serious. Ronan really meant it. I opened my mouth to speak, but he pressed a kiss to my forehead. Then pulled me tight into his chest. Sleep. When you wake up, we'll be home. His voice was low, faint, carrying a trace of sweetness. Don't breathe, stupid dad. Father drugged the air. Ugh, you're hopeless. Sawyer's anxious cries grew faint. My eyelids grew heavy, my thoughts clouded. Before darkness swallowed me whole, I sank into his warmth. By my ear, a sigh whispered, thick with obsession. So pitiful. My sickness was almost cured. Baby, why did you run? I didn't even have the chance to reply before the world went black. 7. That night, I dreamed of the first time I met Ronan. I was a beta, utterly ordinary. My family looked down on me. All resources went to my younger alpha brother, barely a year my junior. We lived in a high-end neighborhood, but my tuition was always last. My clothes never fit. Not because of lack of money, but because they didn't care. When I bitterly asked for tuition, they'd reluctantly glance away from my brother, dropping a glance on me like alms. You're just a beta, what good is studying so much? You're a beta, why wear nice clothes? Their cutting words drilled into my ears, stabbing my heart. Ripped apart. Because I was a beta. A plain, unremarkable beta. In the gray, cramped world of my childhood, sunlight never touched me. I started working part-time. I wanted money. Money could solve my worries, busy work meant I no longer needed love. Through effort, I got into the top university in the capital. I thought my parents would change. Instead, they bitterly said, "So what if you got in? You're just a beta. All you do is read. What good is that?" From then on, I cut contact with them. After graduation, I entered a large company. By day, I was an employee, by night, a bar server. I needed money. Money gave me security. Until my 23rd birthday. For the first time, my parents called. My brother had caused an accident, street racing, someone died. 1 million to pay. Without it, their precious alpha son would go to jail. The house had long been sold. The company had gone bankrupt in my sophomore year. In this crisis, they thought of me. They demanded the money. The price, sever all ties with me forever. I agreed. Consider it repayment for giving me life. I gave them all my savings. Still not enough. Short 50,000. I asked a colleague if there was a fast way to earn money. She suggested going undercover. That night, I didn't wear my server uniform but a sky blue sailor outfit. It signaled that besides pouring drinks, I could offer other services. My heavy bangs were tied into little puffs with clips. I removed my black-rimmed glasses. While admiring my face, my colleague applied lipstick. "I'll take you to room 101. A bunch of young, handsome alphas. You won't lose out, earn your money, then you can leave." I nodded gratefully. Room 101 was unlike any other. No haze, no chaos. 4 or 5 alphas, the kind seen in news articles, leaned there casually. When I walked in, the alpha in the center lazily raised his eyes. The light caught his brow bone. His striking face made my heart skip. That was Ronan. An only child, a top-tier alpha. The dream alpha for every Omega in the Alliance. He held a cigarette between his fingers, slowly straightened, lips curved in a faint smile, and beckoned me. "Come over." 8. I didn't move. The aura of a top-tier alpha was overwhelming. I didn't want to entangle myself with someone so dazzling. My colleague nudged me excitedly. "Go. That's Ronan. One night with him and you'll earn tens of thousands." I hesitated. Really? She whispered, really? That cigarette alone starts at 50,000. Damn rich people. I walked step by step toward Ronan, determined. The closer I got, the tighter my body felt, as if encased. They pushed me closer, urged me on. The crowd cheered for a beauty-feeding game. My scalp tingled as I raised the glass, about to kneel and serve. Ronan rose slightly, grabbed the glass, and stared at me intently. That was the first time I met his gray-blue eyes. The wine was his, but the one getting drunk was me. He carried me to the top-floor room, holding me horizontally. I lay on black sheets. Ronan blindfolded me and kissed me. A kiss with the taste of wine. I was drunk all night. I bit the pillow, he, displeased, threw it away. Pressing close, he nibbled my earlobe. Good boy, say it. The room's soundproof. I trusted him, and spoke. By morning, my throat was raw. The door knocked. Ronan kissed my corner of the mouth, then carefully rose to open it. The door was ajar. Voices seeped in. Your ladyship knows what happened last night. She says the future son-in-law cannot be a beta. The family bloodline must not break. I didn't hear Ronan's reply. I just pulled the blanket over my head, fists pressed against my aching stomach, and looked at my phone, my parents' texts demanding I cover the remaining money. I realized, words can carry emotion. The room wasn't as soundproof as I thought. Ronan was a master of deception. I just processed that when he lifted the blanket. Awake? Pretending? I awkwardly said, just woke up. He pinched the back of my neck where he had bitten. Flat. No glands, no pheromones. Only the fading teeth mark. Lying. Your eyes are bright. Already awake. He leaned in to kiss me, I resisted. In his confused eyes, I nervously licked my lips. How was I last night? Ronan smiled, whispered in my ear. Great. Legs open, body soft, voice lovely, especially letting me. I covered his mouth. So, how much can you tip me? 9. His smile faded. How much do you want? Palms sweaty, heart pounding, 500,000? No, 10,000 is enough. Head down, voice quieter, 5,000 is fine. After all, I had enjoyed last night. A naive body tasting sweetness for the first time. I experienced euphoria. Ronan? A beta body might be boring for him. Even 1,000, or nothing, would have been fine. I lacked confidence, even willing to pay him. Then, a black card was placed before me. I looked up, Ronan's expression cold, all warmth gone. Unlimited. Ah. Ronan would investigate this. Spit, spit. Wesley, what's wrong with your mouth? I tried to refuse. He looked down at me imperiously, not enough. His gaze was emotionless. I slowly curved my lips. Then took the card. Enough. How could it not be? The moment I took the card, Ronan left. The door slammed. The sound echoed through the empty room. My mom called. I answered. Her sharp voice overpowered the door slam, echoing. Wesley. Where's the money? The remaining 50,000. You better pay today, or I'll come to your company to make trouble. Then my dad. Give us that 50,000 and we'll cut ties immediately. I glanced at the sun sinking in the west, hung up. Hugged my knees, buried my face. The black card's edge pressed into my palm, sharp pain stabbing my brain. After that day, I became Ronan's bed partner. He begged me to give. Until his fiancée appeared. Then I realized my dream had ended. I had to leave. But I, a beta, was pregnant. And Ronan came for me. 10. Wesley, we're here. I forced my eyes open, leaving my memories behind. Ronan's flawless face loomed before me. Before I could react, he was carrying me out of the car. I can walk myself. Ronan obediently set me down, then held out his hand. I didn't move, didn't understand. He grabbed my hand tightly. I wanted to resist. But against Ronan, I was like a mayfly against a towering tree. Besides, a circle of bodyguards surrounded us, I couldn't run. So I let him lead me, first into the foyer by car, then winding past the zoo, aquarium, and greenhouse to the main hall. At the entrance, the familiar butler greeted us. "Master, madam." I almost choked on my own saliva at the title. Ronan, however, looked pleased. "They're here." The butler nodded. "All seated inside." "Good." Ronan squeezed my hand, leading me inside. The hall, decorated in classical style, was full of men, women, young and old, all eyes on me. I instinctively stepped back. Ronan glanced at me, I felt his grip tighten. Warmth spread through my palm. "Wesley, when you come home, you must greet your elders." I froze. I'd only ever heard of brides paying respects, what elders? So many rules in rich families. I wanted to run again. Ronan's faint, teasing smile. "Come on." I meekly followed. He stopped, I immediately halted. Ronan turned, pulled me to his side. "Grandfather, grandmother, this is my partner, Wesley." He patted me. "Say, grandfather." Confused, I whispered it. My voice was thin as a mosquito. The elderly man's smile was stiff, but he handed me a red envelope via the butler, thick and heavy. Ronan led me around. My wrist nearly bent under the weight of the envelopes. Afterward, I watched him dismiss everyone. I wanted to ask something, when Sawyer, who hadn't spoken in a while, said, "Dummy dad, this is meeting the family. Now everyone knows the madam's place is taken. You didn't even realize your father got outsmarted." I looked at the stack of envelopes. Is this how rich people calculate? Could there be more? 11. Once everyone left, the vast main hall was just Ronan and me. I reluctantly handed him the envelopes. "Yours," he waved. I quickly pulled them back. "You little miser," he teased, gesturing for me to follow. He stepped ahead, disappearing behind a screen. With money in hand, I followed without resistance. After all, I was carrying his child, he wouldn't harm me. I examined the envelopes while following him. Gradually, the light dimmed. Unease crept in. "Ronan." No response, but he stopped walking. The door at the end of the corridor swung open. Inside, complete darkness. Ronan stepped in. I paused, debating whether to flee with the envelopes. Sawyer's voice. "Dad, why aren't you going in? There are many treasures Father keeps inside." Treasures? Shamefully, my heart raced. I pressed against the wall, inching toward the door. Just as I stepped inside, lights illuminated the room. My eyes fell on the surroundings. A huge golden birdcage hung from the ceiling, adorned with pearls and gemstones, lined with soft wool. Behind it, a wall of glass display cases. Inside. My face flushed instantly. I turned to run, but the door was gone, seamless. Ronan approached slowly, hand on the back of my neck. Sharp canine teeth pressed against smooth skin, piercing suddenly. The envelopes scattered across the floor. My pupils dilated, his hand gripped mine. Pheromones flooded in. Every inch of my body was marked with basil. "Ronan." I exhaled with difficulty. He turned my face, kissed me. After the kiss, I collapsed in his arms, breathing steadily. Before I could react, Ronan carried me horizontally toward the birdcage. Soft blankets cushioned me, I cushioned him. "Wesley, do you know what I've been doing these past 3 months while you ran?" I shrank instinctively before his abyssal grey-blue gaze. Ronan smiled, snapping his fingers. I've been perfecting this basement. I didn't want you to get caught, but you still did. The snap coincided with his words. Suddenly, the 6 walls rotated, revealing mirrors. My terrified reflection stared back at me. I was truly afraid. Ronan was a mad dog. I tried to run. He caught my ankle, pulling me back. I clutched my belly, back pressed against the cage. No, Ronan. I have a child. His expression unchanged. I know. I know everything about you. The doctor said you can handle this now. What does that mean? His icy fingers touched my face, his gray-blue eyes glimmered red with barely restrained excitement. Shivering, so pitiful, eyes red. Something was wrong. The bite on the back of my neck throbbed. I smelled basil. This was bad. I swallowed, trying to calm him. We should talk, Ronan. He tilted his head, his beautiful face held cruel innocence. Wesley, I don't want to talk. I only want you. With that, he threw my glasses across the room. Crash. The clear world shattered. Ronan's kiss was fierce and suffocating. I drowned in that gray-blue ocean. Dragged down by basil into the abyss of desire. 12. I felt like a small boat adrift in a vast ocean, tossed by waves, consciousness floating between sky and ground. My phone rang. It was River. Wesley, Ronan's heat cycle has started. Can you get out of the basement and give him the suppressant? Before River could finish, Ronan snatched the phone and slammed it to the floor. Crack. The screen shattered. An alpha in heat loses all reason. All they see is desire and release. And a heat cycle lasts 7 days and nights. No, Ronan, stop. Can we just use the injection? I wanted to cry but had no tears. No. Ronan shook his head. His canines pressed again into the back of my neck, over the old bite marks. Every object in the glass display case became a tool for marking me. Basil invaded my body again, this time marking even the deepest parts. 7 days and nights. Even if pheromones fade, the scent is absorbed. Marinated in basil. I swayed, pupils dilated, staring at the ceiling. Ronan's kisses roamed my entire body. Abort it. I froze. What? Jealousy burned in his eyes as he glared at my barely visible belly. Abort him. Why should he get that close to you? I was stunned. I knew alphas were possessive in heat, but this. Even the child could be taken away. Instinctively, I shielded my belly. That simple motion enraged Ronan. Another storm of desire engulfed us. The moon rose and fell countless times, carried by clouds. When I finally woke, Ronan's heat was over. I stared blankly at the golden cage. Ronan wore a loose robe, bright red marks across his chest, traces from when I couldn't resist. Eat. Warm porridge was held to my lips. I turned away in weariness. When will you let me go? Ronan exhaled, voice taut with restraint. Wesley, why do you insist on leaving me? I frowned. Why should I stay with you? He choked for a moment, then laughed helplessly. You don't love me? Do you love me? I countered. Of course I love you, he replied immediately. Words of love felt hollow. I didn't believe him. Couldn't believe him. I was an ordinary beta. From the start, our statuses were unequal. No baseless expectations, Wesley. Lower your standards. I closed my eyes, curling in on myself. Ronan, I want freedom. Freedom alone. He rose, voice firm. Impossible. I opened my swollen, tear-stained eyes. So you'll keep me locked up forever? He bent, fingers tracing the small bite on my lip. Yes. Until you choose to love me, until you choose to stay. I collided with his obsessive, insane gaze. I didn't know if I was shaking from fear or anger. Mad. Ronan was insane. I hid under the blanket, refusing to engage. He yanked it away. Behave for a day, 10,000. Ugh. Once again, I felt shamelessly excited. This wicked capital. Could we start with 1 million instead? 13. Ronan meant what he said. I was truly locked in the basement. The phone had been destroyed during the heat episode. I had no distractions. Even Sawyer hadn't spoken since I entered the basement. Ronan spent days guarding me. Even without touching, just watching. My scalp tingled. Fortunately, today he had to go out early, leaving me alone. I was about to pick up the abandoned envelopes by the door when Sawyer spoke. Still with that high-pitched voice, but frustrated. This is too much. Don't kids even have rights? I could literally see stars. What did dumb dad and stupid father do? I nearly fainted. I scratched my head and continued collecting the envelopes. Sawyer kept ranting. Why are dumb dad and stupid father still in the basement? Haven't they sorted it out? Ugh, mouths aren't just for eating. I have to step in, but how can I get dad to see father's phone? Your dad already knows. I sat on the floor, hugging the envelopes, counting one by one, afraid some were missing. Luckily, the total was correct. I hid the envelopes under the pillow, then double-checked by putting them inside the pillowcase. Finally, I swapped my pillow with Ronan's. The more dangerous the place, the safer it felt. After securing the money, I thought about Sawyer's words. What's on Ronan's phone? What haven't they revealed? I pondered, then fell into a deep sleep. Nighttime offered no rest, only in the day when Ronan was absent could I nap. I woke as darkness fell. Ronan had returned silently, sitting by the bed, eyes fixed on me. That gaze made my body tense, the bite on my neck throb. I'm hungry. He withdrew his intense stare, leaning close. What do you want to eat? I didn't dodge his kiss, mumbling anything. He nodded softly, gazed at me deeply, then left the basement. Only when the door closed did I exhale. Dad, father didn't take the phone. Open it. Password is 7512. I turned and saw Ronan had indeed left it behind. I picked it up, the lock screen showed a dim photo, someone vaguely visible. I didn't look closely, typed Sawyer's password, and it unlocked. Open the gallery, Dad, open the gallery. I tapped it. The next second, I froze. Why did Ronan have these things on his phone? 14. The gallery on his phone was full of my videos and photos. Some were surveillance, some secretly filmed. Every single one of them. My hands trembled as I scrolled to the bottom and saw the dates, March. That was when I had just started working at the bar. Why did Ronan even have videos from my interview? I struggled to breathe, refusing to believe it, and watched them all. Over 200 gigabytes, every single one of my photos and videos. My hands twitched uncontrollably. I closed the phone in a daze, looking up to see Ronan leaning against the doorway, standing there silently. His gray-blue eyes reflected the dim light. Inside those beautiful eyes, I was all he saw. We stared at each other across the distance. No words. No sound to break the silence. Just as I pressed my thumb to my palm, about to speak, Ronan strode forward. He half-kneeling in front of me, level with my body, pressed his hand to the back of my neck, and kissed me. I instinctively parted my lips, and a soft chuckle escaped his throat. My ears turned red. One hand on my neck, the other pinching my earlobe, he whispered, "Good boy." The kiss was gentle, and I gradually sank into it. Sawyer's high-pitched voice screeched with frustration. "Ronan, Wesley, you're too much. I'm seeing stars again, stop kissing." Ugh. I'm dizzy, going to sleep. Good night, Dad. Too early for good night. Ronan became aroused again from the kiss. Good night turned into good afternoon. I was held tightly from behind. Won't you say something? My body ached so much, talking felt exhausting. Ronan, like a dog marking his territory, left his mark all over me. Ask, and I'll answer, I said, but didn't know where to start. How do you even begin to ask? I had always passively accepted my lot. An ordinary beta, a biased family, a mediocre position. Just as I had convinced myself to accept a plain life, he brought me someone like light. I didn't know how, or if, I should accept this gift. I was an ordinary beta. Without pheromones, unable to comfort Ronan during heat. I shouldn't accept him. Fate must have made a mistake. Ronan had better choices. I closed my eyes, waiting for the dryness in them to soften, then opened them. Watching the dust in the air, I finally asked, Ronan, when will you let me go? I felt the tension in his body behind me. My heart felt crushed by massive hands, every breath painful. He tightened his hold, his nose brushing against my back. Wesley, stay. His tone was firm, yet I heard a plea. Warmth spread from my back straight into my heart. Ronan, you can't keep me locked up forever. His voice hardened. I can, Wesley. I can. Our hearts were so close, yet so far. 15. After that day, Ronan became even busier. At night, he came home, did nothing, just held me as we slept, tight, tight. After I fell asleep, he kissed me. Ronan cried often, every kiss leaving tears on my lips, sour like lemons. One sunny day, River came. He smiled at me, put on a little weight. Looking better. I was surprised he came. River grumbled, hands on his hips. You two are impossible. You can speak, yet won't. He acts like a widower at work, you act gloomy at home, your hearts are in sync, so why not speak? I wanted to deny it, but River waved me off. No need. If you won't talk, I will. It's frustrating just watching. He sat cross-legged in front of me. Tell me, what are you worried about? I opened my mouth to deny, but River interrupted. I know. You think you're a beta, without pheromones, unworthy of Ronan. How did he know? River smirked. Do you know why Ronan made you call people that day he brought you home? I shook my head. Fool, it was to clear your mind. Clear my mind? River slowly recounted the 3 months I had been away. After I left, Ronan lost his temper. He tracked my flight and destination quickly, but didn't come to me. He analyzed why I left, hundreds of slides prepared. He remembered your first time, at first it went fine. Then he went out, you asked him for a service fee. He said you must have overheard him talking to his assistant, so when he brought you back, the first thing he did was meet your family. River handed me his phone. It was filled with detailed analysis. An arrow pointed to one phrase, why was my wife mad? Ronan isn't as glamorous as outsiders think. His parents were strict. Since I'm an Omega, they forbade me from being public. River lay back on the floor, sighing. Ronan is an alpha. He learned a lot young. At 18, he rebelled, street racing, fights, reckless things. His parents couldn't stop him, finally sent him to a military boarding school abroad. Back home, he went even wilder. Then suddenly decided to take over the family business, smiling at his phone every day. He said he fell in love at first sight. The person liked money, so he had to earn it. You guessed it, it was you. Every day, he went to your bar, secretly filming, even bought the bar with his own money, edited the surveillance himself. When he heard you planned to leave, he flew back immediately from abroad, fearing you'd run off. Still, you left. He held your clothes and cried for 3 days and nights. I listened in shock. River suddenly sat up. Do you know? The first time you two, he cried. The second time, when you asked for money, he cried again, got a room next to yours, crying softly. My chest went numb. Ronan cried? River nodded. Yes. That's all I can tell, you two sort it out yourselves. You're a good person, Wesley. You deserve everything. I looked up sharply. River smiled and nodded. I thought Ronan had a good brother. That night, Ronan returned. He took off his clothes and went to hold me to sleep. I stopped him. Let's talk. He froze. Leaving again? No. I held his hand. Do you like me? He grabbed my hand back, firm and unwavering. Yes. I looked down. River told me a lot today. I know, Ronan said. My brother told me. Sawyer interrupted. Father lied. He installed multiple cameras in the room. Every time Dad slept, they flashed. I sighed. Figures. Now it didn't matter. I only asked, if a high-match Omega appears in the future, what will you do? Ronan smiled. There won't be anyone else. My glands won't respond to anyone else. I sensed something off. What do you mean? Ronan, proudly. My glands were surgically altered the moment you left. You, Wesley, are the only one for me. I felt a suffocating heaviness in my chest and immediately checked. Sure enough, his glands were shriveled, faint scars visible. I couldn't smell pheromones. The faint bitterness I sensed before wasn't a mistake. Ronan's glands were truly broken. Tears streamed uncontrollably. Ronan scrambled to wipe them. I grabbed his hand. Ronan, keeping me locked forever will cost a lot. His gray-blue eyes lit up like dazzling sapphires. How much? I smiled, kissed his lips, not a cent. He held me tightly. Tears soaked my clothes. Ronan cried. I pushed him slightly, wrapped my arms around his neck, and kissed him. Again, I tasted Ronan's tears, sweet this time. One kiss, unstoppable. Before my consciousness faded, I heard Sawyer's frantic, high-pitched voice. Okay, annoying father and dad, I forgive you this time for making me see stars. You must be happy, wait for me to come out. We clung to each other, our hearts beating in sync. Alive, passionate, and real.